If you are a college student, you might think that having a teammate with zero contribution is already the worst, but I actually had a teammate who gave negative contribution. My teammate in my group project deleted all the work I have done myself and replaced it entirely with AI writing. This happened in my first year of university in a complementary course for learning how to write a scientific paper. And that was the first year, and I didn't really know how to do anything at the time. And the school's teaching system, the app, I was not able to use that. Right? And many of the classmates actually from third year or even fourth year, and because it's called a complementary, but there's no courses, use that course as a prerequisite, so you can actually take that course in a pretty late. But I didn't know, so I take that for my first year, and the teacher assigned us into different groups for a group project. So it firstly requires like an outline of the paper and the draft paper and then a final paper. And also that was the year that GPT was still dumb. That was like GPT 3.5. And my teammate is he was in engineering, so that he was actually really busy, and I understand that. And so I was prepared to do most of the work myself. We were writing a paper for creativity. I was writing a paper about Montessori education system, and I regretted to pick this topic later because many other students, because they already know how university works, so they pick much easier like, for example, one of the team picked the like a toy or something, something really simple, really small topic. But I pick a really big one, like I want to criticize the entire education system, which is not necessary for the course. I can write an article to criticize it myself, but you shouldn't do that in a university courses for marks. And my teammate was like, yeah, let's do it. And my teammates don't really have any idea what to do. He's also in first year, so he made the same mistake as me. But after we started doing that, I found it's really, really hard. Firstly, the course required us to find a citation for every single opinion we gave in the paper. And I didn't like that. I still don't like that for now. Because if you want me to write a paper, then that means you want to hear something from me, not just from like a guy from online. But the professor ended up just want a paper. It's like a combination or like a mixture of different opinions already exist. And I remember when I handed in my draft paper, the professor was like, he disagreed with my opinion, and I lost mark for that. He actually used his like father or like grandfather as an example to fight against my opinion. I'm not sure how that works, but he's a professor, he dominates. And I gave in. I start to find every single citation for the paper. But before that, we were working on the outline. And because he was so busy and I didn't know anything, and we ended up using ChatGPT to help us to write the outline. You shouldn't do that. That's considered plagiarism, and you should never do that. I'm no longer doing that. And because GPT was so dumb, it actually made up fake sources. Like you can't find the paper and also the outline. I think that was called a annotation or something. So it has a specific format, and the format given by GPT is not the same thing as a professor asked us to do. So it was really obvious we used AI to do our work. And we just, the professor wanted to talk to us. We had a really long meeting, and we were having a really good altitude. We said, yes, we did that. We regret that. We did that because we were kind of busy and we didn't know what to do. And professor give us a actually really light punishment. So firstly, he warned us, but he didn't tell this to the department. And also he said that he gave us a second chance to do the work, but the highest mark he can give us is D. And that's we were supposed to get a 0 on the assignment, and that's why you should never do that, because you will get a 0. And eventually, I did the work with like really good attitude. I worked on that really hard. I found every single opinion of mine with a citation, and the professor gave us D, so that's a pass. We were supposed to fail this exam, to fail this assignment. So I thought that I learned the lesson. I'm not gonna do that anymore. And my teammates clearly didn't learn the lesson, and he thought that we were fine this time because we were lucky, or like he is lucky at least. And after the outline is a draft paper, he messaged me something like, bro, I have a lot of exams. So I asked, when is your exam? He said, that my exam is on Thursday. And I said, but we are supposed to hand in our paper on Tuesday. He said, sorry man, I'm really busy. I was like, fine, I'm gonna do it myself. And I did the draft paper myself without using AI. That was a lot of work, to be honest, because I wasn't really, good at typing a paper when I was in high school. We were not using a lot of laptop, I was actually using an iPad for most of my school work in high school. And also it was really hard for me to do the research. I never learned how to do, research for paper before. It was my first in university anyways. But after that, I made the paper. And you know what the teammates did? He actually, he didn't tell me, but because we were using a shared document, he deleted all the work I have done and replaced it with what AI writing. And specifically, he copy-pasted my work to the GPT and asked GPT to rewrite everything. So GPT wrote like fake sources. He replaced my real sources with fake sources. And then he copy-pasted what GPT answered and type into my, just paste into the document. And GPT at the time was using so we were required to use Times New Roman as a font, but GPT is using something else. And also, like GPT at the time actually has a gray highlighting, like a really light gray colored highlighting for the answer from his text. And he didn't change the font, he didn't even remove the gray highlighting, and he just copy-paste everything into the document with like fake sources, wrong font, and a gray highlighting. So that's like basically telling the professor that if you're not blind, you will know this is from like a AI writing is a plagiarism again. And I found out before he handed in, luckily. And also I handed in before he changed the document. So I actually can download my work from the school's website. And I told him, this is too obvious. You shouldn't do that. If you're gonna do that, at least you fix the font and to get a real source. And he for some reason he didn't admit. I told him it's too obvious. It is really, really obvious. Like I'm not blaming you. Like I'm too lazy to do that. Just don't delete my work because I have done everything myself. I'm not gonna tell the professor you didn't participate in the assignment. I know you're busy. You're an engineering student. Just don't delete my work, right? That's simple. You don't need to do anything, and you have my work. I'm not gonna tell the professor. That's not gonna benefit me anyways. So He said, yeah, but he still didn't admit he was using AI for that. And but anyways, yeah, I found my original work. I replaced that AI writing with my own work, and I handed it in when it's deadline. And I thought, at least this guy gonna learn the lesson, because I didn't ask him to do anything, and I was expecting he's not gonna do anything in the final paper. So for the final paper, again, I did everything by myself. It was a lot of work. I actually found like 33 sources for my references. And because, that was a broad topic. It's about like entire education system. That's why I said I regretted, because that's like a huge workload. And I was lucky. I was not in engineering, but I was still in science, I was still in science. I managed to do that anyways. Young me, give the young me credit. But I still kind of worry, because this guy, he's like, I don't know what my teammates was thinking, but just to be cautious, I actually made a copy of my work. And you know what happened? I think you're expecting. Yes, he deleted everything I wrote again and replaced it with AI writing. And he still didn't change the font to Times New Roman. He still have the copy paste with the gray highlighting of every single word. And he's still using the fake sources. Like, he didn't even check the answer for AI. He just copy paste everything to AI and ask AI to rewrite everything. And GPT 3.5 was still it was not really smart. It was still not really smart right now. So if you're listening and you're a student, don't trust GPT, don't use GPT, especially when looking for sources. And you shouldn't do that, because that's plagiarism. And after that, I was like, I lost all my conscience. I lost all my patience. I was getting really upset, and I messaged him, "Why do you do that? I told you you don't need to do anything. And since you're not putting work from yourself, you're just using AI. You're not really contributing. And I told you you don't need to do that. I know you're busy. Just don't delete my work. And why do you do that again?" And also, it's really obvious for the professor to tell you were using AI. And since we already be caught from plagiarism already, if we caught again, you know what's gonna happen? We're not only gonna fail this course, but also the professor gonna report us to the school board, and that's gonna be really serious. There's a chance we get kicked out from school, and I got kicked out from school because of you. But this guy, I mean, I don't know. He probably have some brain problem, physically. He did not admit. He said, no, I was not using AI. I'm just using it for an assistance. I was like, shut the fuck up. Okay, it's really obvious. You think I'm dumb or what? I'm not stupid. I'm not so we were in the same university. Our IQ are similar. And I just told him, do not, step into my work. I actually have a copy of my work. I'm gonna use that. Just don't do that again. He was like, yeah, sure, for sure. I was like, fine, just go prepare for your other exams, and I will handle the final paper. And luckily, I had my copy. I handed in my copy, and we actually got a B in the course. Which is a course we're really likely to fail if I handed in or he handed in the paper made by AI. And that's gonna lead something even more serious. So guys, when you are picking your teammate for a group project, you gotta be careful. But I don't think that's really anything you can do, because those are just people, strangers you just met for first time, and you don't really have a choice if they're normal or not. Yeah, sometimes you're just not lucky. But always, if you're found out your teammates are not contributing and you're doing your work by yourself, you gotta be careful. This guy is not but that's already the best scenario. At least he's not intervening your work. But always keep a copy of your work, and If your teammates are doing something bad, report that to professor.